We're here at the 28th Annual Alzheimer's Regional Conference here in Seattle, Washington. Joining us today is Elder Law Attorney from the Northwest Elder Law Group, Janet L. Smith. Janet, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Janet, can you talk to us a little bit? Does having a durable power of attorney make sense for family members with Alzheimer's?
It absolutely makes sense. And in fact, I recommend to my clients that anybody over the age of 18 needs to have a durable power of attorney, because none of us ever knows what's going to happen if we're going to be in an accident or have a sudden illness. And it's a small amount of planning that can have huge consequences. And if you wait until after the disability has happened, it can be too late, and then that can have disastrous consequences.
I never really thought about it that way, to be honest with you. So
Yeah.
I was a little surprised by your comment about 18, but when you put it in that light, it makes complete sense.
Yeah, I actually have gotten calls that are, go along the lines of, Mom's been in an accident, she's at Harborview, she's unconscious, and her rent's due tomorrow. What do we do? And this was someone who wasn't anticipating disability. So it's good planning for everybody.
Okay. Talk to what exactly a durable power of attorney is for those of us that might not know.
All right. A lot of people are confused by the term durable, and they want to know, well, what's the difference between a durable power of attorney and just a regular power of attorney? Mm-hmm. And that word durable means that it is being used with the idea that there might be disability in the future. So it has to have that word durable in there in language that says this power of attorney is going to still be in effect if in the future I become incapacitated. So that's the kind of power of attorney that we want folks to have. Again, whether or not they're anticipating disability, because none of us really knows if that's going to happen. A general power of attorney typically means having to do with finances, and a power of attorney for healthcare is sometimes called a healthcare proxy, and that's giving someone the ability to make healthcare decisions if, for example, you were ever unable to speak for yourself, whether it's just temporarily being unconscious or it's more long-term disability. You've named an agent that can make healthcare decisions for you if you can't.
So now, is that something that would be joined into a living will, that healthcare proxy, or?
Sometimes it will be in the living will, which is also called an advance directive to physicians. We separate those out into two different documents. It's not necessary, but when I do an advance directive for somebody, that may not need to change, but they may want to change who they've named as their healthcare agent. So I put those in separate documents so that they can change one without having to change the other. The living will or advance directive is also an important document to have, because it gives your agent the instructions about what you would like during end-of-life care, whether you want any extraordinary measures if at some point in the future you're in a coma or you're in the process of dying. You've given some instructions to your family members about what end-of-life care you'd like.
Now, what happens in situations where you have somebody that does not have a family member? Are there certain people that come into play in that area, such as guardians or any kind of surrogate decision?
Sure. A lot of people, folks don't have a spouse, they don't have children. Sometimes people assume that it has to be a family member, and it doesn't. People have the family that they choose. And so a lot of times it can be a close friend or the son or daughter of a close friend, because it is often good to have somebody who's younger do this. But sometimes people don't have any, maybe they have family, but they don't really think that they're up to the job. And so there are professional companies, they're called professional fiduciary companies, And these are folks that are authorized and able to serve as an agent under power of attorney, or as a trustee of a trust, or as the executor of an estate after death. So these are good qualified people that know what they're doing and are very trustworthy.
Good. Now, let's say somebody actually did have something occur. They went into the hospital and they don't know about this process. Are they informed there, or is it just kind of an individual's responsibility to take care of themselves, even if they don't know about it?
Well, I would say that it's really good planning to do in advance of any crisis. And something like this educational conference is a really good way to get the word out. Most estate planning attorneys will not talk to somebody about doing a will without also talking to them about doing powers of attorney and an advance directive. We tend to educate people that it's a package that's important. So a lot of people know that they need to see an attorney to do a will, but then we'll talk to them about what else they need at the same time.
Very good. Can you speak to us a little bit about mediation with family members?
Well, this is a newly emerging field of elder mediation. I think a lot of people that I talk to are familiar with mediation. Maybe they've gone through mediation as part of a divorce, or small claims court, or with an insurance company over an auto accident. But they don't know that this is available for some of the problems that come up in families in crisis. And a lot of times when a parent has dementia, there can be a lot of conflict in the family. How are we going to care for dad? Where is he going to live? Who's going to be the power of attorney? There are issues about money. There's issues about stuff. I really wanted that framed photo. No, you can't have it. And families also are likely to want an ongoing relationship. If you have a dispute with your neighbor and you move, you're never going to see that person ever again. Your family is your family, and too many families let a conflict separate the family forever, and then they never work on repairing that relationship. So the way mediation can work is a trained third-party facilitator can work with all of the parties to a dispute. Sometimes it's all in the same room, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it works better to have people in separate rooms and have the mediator or facilitator go in between. And it's not therapy. It's not designed to make everybody feel better. It's designed to be shared problem solving. So instead of immediately going to court, immediately filing a guardianship petition, filing lots of disputes, everybody gets a lawyer, it's sitting down and saying, what do I need out of this situation? What's the resolution that I can live with here? And it can be an amazingly effective process to get the resolution to the problem, to share information, to move forward, and many times it will repair or at least improve the relationship going forward. So the people who are absolutely not speaking to each other, maybe at the end of the process they are going to be speaking to each other. I had one case that with two brothers. Mom had dementia, and so she didn't participate in the process. She wasn't able to participate, but they were fighting about money, they were fighting about control, they were fighting about healthcare decisions, they were fighting about where she was going to live. And we actually spent several sessions with a mediator, ended up with a really several page document that listed how information was going to be shared, how the money was going to be divided up after death, all of the issues that we could even imagine. We sat in the room and we worked it out. And we resolved that process. It was about 9 months to a year later, she was in an adult family home, and she entered the end of life stage. And both sons, they never really liked each other after that, but they were actually able to communicate during that last week, make joint decisions about end-of-life care, and there was no family drama at that moment. They put all of that behind themselves and were able to communicate during that last week and make decisions together.
I imagine working through the process in a way that they found resolution kind of helped them later on with that.
I think so.
Difficult.
I think so. I think that they both learned things that they hadn't known before. There were some family secrets that came out. There was some empathy and understanding that came out of that. Of instead of just demonizing the other brother, they learned perhaps, well, this is why he's been acting that way. So it wasn't, I'm not saying it was a total kumbaya moment, but it was the right resolution for this family. And one of the real advantages in that scenario, compared to if they had gone to court, Mom never had to know about the conflict.
Yeah.
She was kept out of it because they worked out their issues, and there was no guardianship or court process or anything that she needed to be involved in.
So if somebody would like to learn more about these kind of services, obtain more information about this, where would they go?
Well, there's more and more information online. If you Google elder mediation, it's a topic that's out there, and I think that the people who are working this area follow the same basic approach that other mediators use in other areas. But what's interesting is that the elder mediator also knows how to deal with the person that the dispute is probably about may have diminished capacity and may have either limited participation or may have a surrogate representing them.
All right. Well, I really appreciate the time that you've taken here today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day in the conference, and thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.